Robert, it's great to have you back. There's been so much happening with our AI here at Region 16. If I think about the fact that for the last 3 years, Region 16 has been engaged in AI from the very beginning of when ChatGPT launched, and over the last year, just the advancements that you and the AI team have made, building our handbook, our AI contract. I don't know if you know this or not, but we're leading the state as far as service centers in AI, and that's incredible.
That
Uh,
is, that is.
I think it's a powerful thing to your team, but it's also powerful on how we're doing it. We're not just, trying to throw everything to the wind or trying to block everything. We're really focusing in on where is the value and how do we make sure that both AI is protected, supported, but also bringing intense value to teachers. Um, with that said, like, what are some of the things that you're seeing? Where can teachers find creativity and benefit and build collaboration? What are the amazing things that are happening now? And maybe even if you want to dig into some hypothesis, what are some amazing things coming for teachers? What are we going to be able to do with AI in the classroom that's going to change the way we do education in this country?
Yes, I couldn't agree more. We have to have this positive vision of what AI could be for us. We want it to move in the right direction. And so as we talk about what the right direction is, we just have to have some idea what this thing could be. What could it mean to an educator to have an artificial intelligence that can assist them, that can help them brainstorm, that can help them differentiate their instructions, that can help them get things done within their workday, right? And so we've been doing a lot of work around policy and making sure that your AI is safe. There's also the side of artificial intelligence, like what do I actually do with it, right? And so that's where a lot of teachers really want to know what can this do for me? How can this help me from day to day? And there have just been some fantastic releases and tools lately. And so I'm going to share a screen so that way we can do this. This has been a great tool for me. Like Gemini has been just kind of my best buddy. We've done a lot of things together over the last couple of years, and one of the coolest tools that they've got here is this slide deck generator. So you don't have to turn on this special Canvas tool, but I like to. And
I've used
so
this. This is great.
yeah, I love this thing. I'm just going to tell it to make a slide deck. I'm going to give it, I was a science teacher, so I'm just using science stuff, but you can use any grade level, any content. You can tell it, I want 10 slides, I want 4 slides, I want 20 slides, and it should be able to make anything within that range. You press the button and off it goes. In the background, it'll start thinking and doing its things. And if it's working right, I've had a little bit of trouble with this one, Michael, where sometimes it tries to like create a web page or like make code.
Yeah.
And so I'm always looking here to determine what it's doing. See how it says creating slides?
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
that makes me know it's like on the right track. It's actually generating a Google slide deck. It'll have
Wow.
a title slide, and it'll have all the informational slides, and it'll go through and it'll even cite sources. The images that this thing brings in here are from the internet. They're not stock images. It's not creating them like a lot of other AI tools might. It's bringing in cited sources. So while this thing runs in the background, it just works. I mean, it's just been great. So here's 14 slides that it decided to put together for me, and starts breaking down all the things that I asked it to. This was all in my prompt, and this was fantastic. Now, if I wanted to, I can export this to slides, and I can take it out of here. I can edit it. I can add whatever pictures I want to it, and that's where this gets really custom. Right? We've had some other tools that have come out in the past that can make pictures of slides, but this actually makes editable slides. That's fantastic. So this tool has just been one of these kind of game changer moments. As someone who works in professional development, I've started making slide decks, almost custom slide decks for everybody that I work with, because it's become so easy and so rapid in order to develop them out.
Well,
Now,
I think about how many times in my career I've had to make slide decks, and I just labor over that activity. And you think just from an operation standpoint, how much time I would put into a slide deck just to communicate a point. That is operational hours I'm taking away from me actually digging into the important parts of my work just to communicate what I want to communicate. And now it's something that I can just load in.
yes. So I made this deck earlier on animal cells and whatnot because I was tinkering around with another tool that came along, and this one kind of blew my mind. So if I'm over in Gemini, right, and I'm just chatting with the tool, talking about things, if I type in to the chat window down here I get all these these things that kind of pop up. And the newest one that they've added is Classroom. So I can tell my Google Classroom to create an assignment. This is significant. I
That's
mean, so I gave it a really simple prompt earlier where I told it to create a new review for my Unit 4 microbiology test. And so, I mean, I've got a biology test in my drive, right? So it could just kind of look through it and see what was going on in there. And I had it create a deck so that way I'm not in the classroom anymore, but so that way I could see what the tool would do with this material. And so here it says, okay, I made it. And if I click over to my Google Classroom, it only made a draft, right? So it's encouraging me to review it. One of those kind of fundamental elements of good ethics with artificial intelligence is making sure that we check the accuracy of the AI outputs. So I can come in here and see what it did. It made a nice assignment title, it made some instructions for the kids, and it even curated a YouTube video for me, which is what I asked it to do. Now I'm going to check the YouTube video, I'm going to watch it, make sure it's what I want. But from here, I can go on and post it like any other assignment. I mean, it's just kind of like that. All of a sudden, I have access to create anything that comes to mind just by typing at classroom into Gemini.
that's unbelievable. I haven't seen that yet. It's really
Yeah, yeah,
so. I talking about the way you're interacting with slides and doing things. I gotta share a story because my mom's a teacher, and so she was doing a project with her kids for Black History Month, and what she wanted like all of these artists and historical people on individual slides, and she wanted a QR code where kids could scan it to pick their person. And it was just this labor intensive thing. It would have taken her literally weeks to do. And I was like, well, let's try it with AI. And so number one, we had our AI build us the Google form, like literally told it what we wanted to build, all the
yeah.
fields, all the things, and it built the whole Google form. It built the slide deck with each individual person, information about that person, and links to where that person and that information can be found. And then we added the QR code to each of the individual person, and then she posted it. And it took weeks worth of work for a teacher, and loaded that project into literally less than an hour. It was incredible.
It's totally incredible. The amount of work, kind of as you're describing there, has really changed. So this prompt here that I've got going on, Mike, I'm asking it to create an interactive website that covers a topic that maybe a bunch of kids missed in class. Like maybe they were sick, we had, the flu came through or whatever. And so I gave it my topic and I asked it to create something I could export into my Google Sites.
Mm.
And so from here, it's going to just start thinking and coding, and it's going to build a web page. This is something that even if I were using Google Sites, like a super simple tool, it would take me forever to kind of come up with this. But it's just going to work here. And if you click over to the code side, this is where it gets super intimidating when you see all this stuff that it's doing. I'm just like, okay, I've no idea what's going on under the hood over here. But if I'm going to come over to preview, I can turn the key and drive the car. I may not necessarily need to know what's going on under the hood. And when this finishes, you end up with this website.
Yeah.
And so you kind of can shift to making custom websites for your kids, almost unit by unit or even lesson by lesson, that if they miss, they've got this interactive resource. And all you have to do is chat back and forth with it. If you don't like whatever appears here in this window that it's working on right now, you
Yeah.
can tell it over here in the chat, hey, I don't like that color or whatever, and it'll change it up for you, however, whatever you have in your mind.
Wow. So, hey, while this is loading, let me tell you a story. You may be familiar with the story, but I had someone talk to me about a student, and the student was creating kind of interactive website tools on some online gaming site, right?
Yeah.
And you can build code into these sites, and then people want to buy the code. And the student was doing that and selling it, creating a little business. The AI was helping them build the code for the gaming site, and then he was selling it to his friends. And the funny thing is that that's great because now we've developed some entrepreneurship, which is really cool. But on top of that, the kid, you're like, well, the AI is just doing everything. Yes, but the kid was learning the code. And so you would think, well, he's not learning anything. But now this student was going in manually editing it as well. And the student understood that language of code. Maybe he couldn't sit down and write it, but he could work it. And suddenly he understood what loops were and what, variables are because he had to manually manipulate that. And so that creates active learning through something students are interested in on what an AI is doing for you.
That's so cool. This thing here, it threw everything together. I've got a few tabs. I can click through things. It looks like it even created some activities for my kids to do here. let's see.
Well, I might have passed chemistry if I had this in high school.
A with T. You know what I mean? Like where it's coming through here, it's okay. Oh my gosh, it's actually created some work for them. It's got a
Yeah,
quiz in here. This is something else. I didn't ask it for this.
yeah, I just
I
did it.
just told it, hey, just put this website together for me. The prompt was pretty simple. I
Now, if
just
I
said a
wanted to
large
grow
group
this,
of my.
if I
What was
want to
that?
grow
Yeah.
this, if I want to grow this, I could just keep chatting with it and it'll expand it, right?
Yes, yes. So you can add more. And then I think one of the newest features that Google's added, this is something that Claude's had for a while, but that you can share this as a website. So
Oh, wow.
all of a sudden, this is something that used to just be contained, but
Oh,
now I can put this right on my Google Classroom and share it with my students.
so we used to have to tell teachers, like when I say used to it, it's weird because I'm talking like
It's
four
like a
months
couple months
ago.
ago.
Yeah, but we used to have the teachers copy all that nasty code and paste that
Yes,
in a Google site, and then every time you had to do it, you had to stretch things out. It was cumbersome. Now you
yes,
just share the link, and
yes.
it's gold.
Yeah, this has changed the game entirely right here. So you could take the link right off of the URL up here and paste that in as a resource within one of your units in Google Classroom. All you have to do as a teacher now is to review the website and make sure that the content is accurate. I mean,
It's
that's such a
incredible.
game changer. Now,
Wow.
I've got another tool, Mike,
Okay.
and I don't know if you've come across this one as you've been doing things, but I feel like it's a strange one. I see it at the top of my Gmail, so
Yeah.
I'm seeing this, and then I go down here to this Do More in Studio. That takes me to the spot I want to be. I've got a new thing. It looks similar to Gemini, like another prompt box, and so I pasted in my deal from before where. I thought this through and I thought, what do I want it to do? So I'm going to tell it here. This is where it gets a little bit weird. I mean, people don't
Yeah.
know that Gemini can even do this. So I'm going to tell this studio thing to search my calendar, to search my email every week and
Yeah.
find stuff, celebrations and good events and maybe sporting events and anything I could use for my school's newsletter.
Oh,
And
wow.
I want it to run every Monday morning at 6 o'clock before I get to school. And I'd like to have that content delivered to me in an email. And just so it gets the idea, I tell it I'm looking for exactly like student of the month kind of stuff, whatever celebrations, whatever I need in my kind of newsletter. And and just toward culture building, right? Tell it whatever you want. And you hit create and off it goes. It's going to create all of the things. You can make all this stuff by hand, but you don't have to, which is just incredible. Just tell it what you want, and it can automate a process where it digs into your email and it does it based on a time of the day, or even if you have somebody filling out a form, Mike, it can trigger some automatic things to happen.
Wow. That's incredible.
So
I need to like tie into my DoorDash and send me a coffee every morning. I think that would be cool.
yes, that would be amazing. I don't know if I want to give it access to my credit card, but I love the idea of just having this automate.
This is true.
Yeah, but like I said, this one's running on a schedule. You click down here on Ask Gemini, and this is where it set up the prompt based on what I wanted it to do.
Oh,
And
wow.
so if I don't like what it says here in this prompt, I can just tailor it up and trim it up a little bit more.
What
And
are
here you can see, you see this one down here? This is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So if I don't want it to be able to search the internet, like for what I was talking about, a newsletter, I want it to be contained. I only want the stuff from my workspace. So I'm only going to check the my workspace one if I want that, you know?
Cool. Yeah. What are the variables there? On the right, underneath your prompt.
So the variables go back to the previous step. So you
Oh,
can connect,
I see.
it gets a lot more complicated than this, but you can have it connect different pieces of this task together. So if you got like a 5 or 6 step
Oh,
stacked together, previous steps become variables in the other steps.
I get that.
Logically, it's complicated. And I typically just ask Gemini to create this thing for me and then I trim it up and tune it up.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I've absolutely loved this tool. The other thing that I made this do is I had it create one that goes through. Do you ever get those like to the administrator addressed messages from TEA or on any of those newsletters?
Good.
I find myself like really wishing I had a summary of those as opposed to the full out drawn out form.
Yeah.
And I've told it to go through and summarize my emails, summarize my solicitations, and it gives me summaries of some of these things that I don't necessarily want to read through every single word. And then if
Sure.
I find something in the summary I want to expand on, then I go back over to the source email. Meanwhile, it just shows up in my inbox every Friday morning to the administrator address summary. And sometimes there's none, and sometimes there's been like 5 in the past week. It's really great.
So one of the ways I've been using it, or I just actually started using this particular flow, is I find myself in my role just all the time communicating the same exact thing to multiple people. It might be to multiple tech people, it might be to superintendents, it might be to who knows what it's to. Maybe it's the ESC members. You never know.
Yeah.
But it's the same communication. But at the same time, you know, I'm not emailing individuals; they're emailing me, and I'm responding with the same exact response. Well, I have a flow that's checking the email. So I get a question in an email, it checks first, has Michael responded to this question in the past? And so it
Yes.
checks that. And then if I have, it takes my response, cans it, repurposes it, and replies to that person. And it creates it. It doesn't send it, but it creates a draft. And then I can see all those drafts line up in my inbox. And me or Hannah can go through and just look at those drafts and just have that human touch on it real quick before it sends out. But then I don't have to sit there and remember, okay, exactly what did I type to that person and making sure my message is consistent with this person to this person. Oh, no, I left off that one thing that I said to them and now they're not getting the same information. Now it's the same consistent, cohesive message every single time. And I just have to review it and send it.
Yes. I do something similar. So I've got like a workshop that people can sign up for. And so whenever somebody fills out the form,
Yeah.
I have a draft email that appears in my inbox that's written to the person who filled out the form from me. And so I told it what sort of things I wanted it to include. And so I go through and I tune it up and make sure it sounds human and not like an artificial intelligence. And
Yeah.
then I send that email off to make that schedule happen. I found that's just a great tool to draft emails that are really canned, like you said. Like it's just
Yeah.
this is a pretty systematic response that I make all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a great tool for that.
So if I had a document in Google Docs that had all the information, but just maybe a long, massive document, but it had everything I need, I could tie that to a flow. And if someone asked a question that matches that document, it could make a concise email addressing that specific question from the document I've written and build an email based on that information.
Yes.
That'd be such a time saver. That's incredible. And Robert, every time I have you on here, this is incredible. And I just feel like the AI is changing almost monthly. And so I just feel like next month there's just new information. So can't wait to have you back. Can't wait to get more information as things are coming. Your brain is just full of just incredible AI knowledge. And I love getting that on here. But I also just want to take one more chance to plug this AI contract we're doing because I know that every school that's taken it has been thrilled with what we've delivered in that program. And that's to your credit. You've just done a great job with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate having you. We'll see you again soon.